Well, I say that it technically counts. Well, when you look at it this way, it is just them playing a whole bunch of D&D together. Yeah, but still, it's we got a rule here. We have a rule: no live person role plays. This means no famous people like Michael Jackson or Mr. T. But on the other hand, it is their characters. I know, but hello and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Because, well, we're kind of having a discussion here. You see, for the past few months, we've all been getting into Critical Role, and we've also been getting back into the D&D section. Right now, martial arts theory and Twilight are trying to discuss whether or not fanfics count for or against the rule of no live action fanfics. You know what we mean. These type of stories about real people, like say Mr. T and Michael Jackson teaming up to face down against a wild boar. Stuff like that. They're discussing this. And I think that considering the fact that it's still their characters, maybe you're right. It is technically fanfics based off of a series, and these guys do put their own personalities. It would be like if I did a story about Voltaire, my character. So, if anybody wants to request Critical Role fanfics, it's on the table. So, let's get started with a fanfic I found that's apparently done right after the wedding between, and I'm gonna say it too, Percival, Frederick Stein, Vaughn, Mosul, Kowalski, DeWello III, and Vexalia. And it looks like it's going to be a cute one. So stay here as we here at the Turryberry Memorial Library are proud to present Sharing Evenings, Cool and Quiet. Enjoy. Sharing Evenings, Cool and Quiet by A Little Bit of the Universe. Oh, now you're going to get big with your names, huh? They don't stay for the reception. One look, both pairs of eyes a little more than tired and battle-worn, is all it takes. They're excusing themselves from the table. Scanlan, Pike, and Grog all start whistling at them as they get out of their chairs. Keelan doesn't notice. Sees the 3 wine glasses of down and talking to Daring, gesturing wildly over her arms as he looks vaguely alarmed. Percy catches his eye and waves to him, and he huffs out a sigh and takes Kayla's glass away when she isn't looking. They walk back to their hotel room in silence, holding hands and gripping perhaps a little more tightly than necessary, though neither of them complains. Fex abandons her heels at one point, and Percy carries them for her, and all it takes is her smile. He don't speak until they're safely in their room, and Fex would be lying if he says he didn't triple-check the lock on the door before she lets herself breathe. Once he turns, Percy is bent over the crib, murmuring softly to Vesper, though she can't hear what he's saying. She approaches him slowly, smiling. "Could you help me out with this to dress, darling?" she asks, resting a hand on his shoulder. "It's a bit waterlogged." Percy straightens up, smiling softly. "Of course, my love." He moves behind her, hands working the laces stiffly until the dress slips down her waist and slips out of it. He watches as she undresses down to her shift, face soft. Almost reverent, she called it, and the thought makes her blush in spite of her exhaustion. Almost as if he reads her mind, Percy moves closer at that moment, wrapping his arms around her and holding her close. His hands don't wander anywhere else. Just up to her hair, which is turned stiff and salty and makes it both grimace. "Why don't I go run a bath?" Percy suggests, taking a step back. She could read the expression on his face, pretending the idea of getting back in the water doesn't make him nervous. It's the same expression she can imagine is on her own face. "We do need a bath before we sleep," she agrees, swallowing hard, gaze flickering down to Vesper. She's woken up, face flaming into a big smile as she sees Fex's face. The sight warms Fex to her toes. "I'll feed her while you do that." "Perfect," Percy murmurs, placing a gentle kiss to her shoulder before slipping away. Faith scoots her daughter up gently, chuckling at the already instant patting on her chest. That won't make the milk come out faster, you know. She says this as she sits in the armchair by the crib. She likes this part, holding Vesper close against her, smelling of milk and sleep, in the sense that was just baby. Makes her smile, even when Vesper is squawking at 3 in the morning because she's hungry. How's that, little love? She murmurs, stroking a black curl from Vesper's face. It's okay. Mama's got you. She came back, didn't she? I promised you we'd have fun after the wedding. Vesper purples and milk straddles at her chin as she pulls back. Thanks laughing as he wipes it away, and hears Percy's chuckle from the doorway. He's clutching her, face soft, tears rolling slightly down his cheeks as he smiles. I don't know if she wants us to go, Faith admits. She doesn't seem very sleepy. She doesn't, Percy hums, moving over and cradling Vesper in her arms. Hello, my sweet. He smiles at her. Listen, it's been a very long day for Mama and Papa. Could you be so sweet and be sleepy again? You can even sleep in the big bed tonight. Vesper squeals, kicking her feet excitedly. Percy sighs, giving Faith a weary smile. Go get in the water while it's still warm enough. He offers, I'll negotiate with this one. Maybe she'll think it's so boring and she'll fall asleep again. Percy, as a big brother 8 years older than his younger, I can tell you that ain't happening. Fitz can't help laughing at that, tickling Vesper's foot gently as she heads into the bathroom. Smile widening as he sees the bath Percy strung to them. The smell of her favorite bath oils wafting from the wire. She's felt a little more ease for him to sat. It takes a long moment, a deep breath before she makes herself step into the tub, sitting down, reminding herself that water only came to her chest, and her head was still above water. She raises her hands to glide through the wire, letting the action soothe her until she grits her teeth, forcing herself to plunge her head under water. It's not so bad, she tells herself firmly. She likes to swim. She tries to remember other times. Splashing in the river with Trinket early in the morning, or trying to get clean and him more determined to catch one of the fish wriggling downstream. Swimming with Vax's children in the pond near Briodin, her leaping onto him to shove him under water. She's not afraid of water. She's not. Because her ears are underwater, she misses Percy's panic cry when he comes to the room. She doesn't miss his hand wrapping around her arm, gripped like iron, holding back up, sputtering, gasping. Pussy! She protests, parting her silk curtain of hair to look at him. I was fine! Percy looks at Bass, pale, hands trembling a little. Shit, I'm sorry. I just saw you underwater. She's now the one feeling guilty for frightening him so much, for not thinking. She sighs heavily, reaching out for him. Come on in, darling, she murmurs, gently as she can. The water's fine. Percy says to the last of his own stiff clothes. She moves forward so he can sit behind her, skin leaning back against his chest. Buries his face in her hair immediately, drawing a sinking breath. I'm so sorry. He mumbles, holding her tight. Sorry I couldn't. Percy, no. She cuts him off, with her hands to look at her. None of what happened today was your fault. Don't think that. None of this is your fault. Percy tries to smile, but it's lopsided and wrong. Hand is still shaking where he reaches up to stroke her head from back her face and cut her cheek. You're gone. Fex leans up, pressing her lips slightly to his, leaving her foreheads pressed together. I'm here, she promises. It's gonna take a lot more than Sirius fucking Briarwood to get rid of me, darling. You know that. Percy does smile at that, and he's kissing her again. Then they're crying softly against each other, clinging as tightly as they can, as though someone's going to rip them apart again. The bathwater is cold by the time they finish and stumble out of the tub, almost too tired and wrung out to dry themselves off. They crawl into the bed on either side of Vesper, sleeping stretched out of the way as she does, arms stretched over her head. Percy smiles tiredly and moves them back down. So don't fall asleep on her. He mumbles back a yawn. Fix laughs a little, reaching over to take his hand, looking him over her daughter's head. There's more, so much more to work through. to talk about. But it'll be time for that later. Right now, all she wants to do is lie next to him and keep Vesper safe between them. And maybe sleep for a week. A week-long nap sounds like something she could definitely get behind. A short, sweet, and cute story. But hey, this is just one of those first time things, you know? When we get back, the characters are good, and everything was well done. So, it makes me wonder, just why did I, and so many others, fell in love with this? Well, speaking from my personal experience, I wasn't expecting to fall in love with it like I have. I mean, sure, I enjoyed the Wormwood campaign by Lordcat just fine. But looking back on it, the characters were nowhere near this developed. And sure, I liked Spinny's Deathlock campaign good, but for the life of me, I could barely remember a lot of the characters behind like Kara's and Joe's "We were fighting like men" character. But as I was thinking about it and coming across it, I started to realize why. Because they are so into their characters. Because it feels like I was just listening to another guy writing a story. That it felt like I was watching a show. These guys managed to keep in character and keep it so well tight that I felt like I was sitting through their adventures and I could feel like there was something bigger that was going on. Crying at the death of a character, which happens in D&D, but you wouldn't expect it. Laughing at the fun bits, that's not just D&D. That's good storytelling. I've always said that sometimes the best stories are the ones where you start crying because you feel bad for the characters. Because if you're not connected with somebody, if that story isn't connecting to you, then I always feel like the author's doing something wrong. You see, this is why I don't agree with Micah when he tries to say, "Oh well, they're just good June characters." Yeah, big shock, huh? But it's true. It's like when you have a D&D character. Like here. We love these guys because Sam, Travis, Laura, Marsha, Ashley, and Towson. Don't treat these guys like a bunch of ones and twos and threes and stuff like that. But treat them as loving, living, breathing characters, which is something that you have to do when you're writing. I guess that's the way I always treat my writing. I do treat it like these are real characters and I'm listening to them. Sometimes when it comes down to it, what is important about writing is listening to your characters. I guess that's another big thing Matt does so well. He listens to these people, and they're not just the enemy, quote unquote. They're characters. They're people. That is why I think Critical Role touches itself. It doesn't help that this is one of the few times we're seeing a bunch of, well, famous people. I mean, yeah, we've always heard that Vin Diesel plays D&D. Hell yeah, but we never got a chance to see him do it. We always hear these other famous people, but we never got a chance to see them. What have we seen every time someone plays D&D? Mostly geeks, nerds, and trolls. And if we have seen anybody play D&D, don't take it seriously. They just go, Dad, playing with dads is so stupid. I mean, I mentioned Worm like a Deathlock earlier, and that was back in 2010, 11, and 12. Back when things were better for that guy with the glasses. But here are people with jobs and are famous. Well, not Arnold Schwarzenegger famous, but within the community of anime and rest of the geekdom, they're famous. They have jobs and they are married and have lives. I mean, shoot. One of the reasons I got into this was because I love Liam as Gara and Travis as Roy Mustang and Laura as Lust. I didn't find out till later that the others are also characters stuff I love. Like Matt is Jotaro freaking Kujo, or how Sam is Donatello. Seriously, Sam has ruined his Donatello voice for me. I all just messes so well. It doesn't also hurt that it's completed. It's a finished story. Well, that was one down. That's just where to go.